the LGBTQ scene does exist, and chosen family, to your point, chosen family. If I ever find myself in a bind in Boston, community, and they're all trans people, which is dope too. So
Nice.
Boston was a blessing. It came out
Mm,
of nowhere.
yeah.
It was a blessing for sure.
That's beautiful. Whoa, that's beautiful. I'm so happy you have that. I'm
Yeah.
so happy you have that. Yeah.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of In the Telling. I'm Miranda, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Steven Fullwood. We're so happy you're here to join us to hear some amazing stories from people across the global Black world. This season, we are talking with Black, trans, and gender nonconforming folks from around the world to talk about their families, whether biological or chosen. Today's guest is Amir, founder of ArtsXCulture. Amir's pronouns are he, him, his. Amir is a Black transgender male, a visual artist and poet. Amir's work reflects his life growing up as a teenage orphan shuffled from Midwest to down South. His struggles with sexuality, poverty, mental health, and the existence of God has really influenced his journey in life. Today, his story is like no other. His voice is to be heard, and his life is worth living. Amir, we are so happy to have you with us on In the Telling, and we look forward to being in conversation with you. We also want to let people know you can find more about ArtsXCulture from his IG page, and we will put that in the show notes so you know where to find him. But welcome, Amir. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
You stated in your bio that your story is like no other, and that your voice is to be heard. What aspects of your life would you like to share specifically regarding your story?
Okay. I would like to share, most importantly, what it was like growing up, in a foster care home, right? And especially as someone who identified as Black, didn't always identify as trans, but maneuvered through, a lesbian in the stud and then being trans. So, and what that was like specifically, in Wisconsin, Chicago, and, other parts that we were shuffled around. And, just how like I've been able to kind of like, not kind of, but I did, right? Persevere and handle it. So, yeah.
Well, I was really happy to meet you last June at the Pleasure of Rebellion exhibition panel at the Schomburg Center. Basically, this was a project celebrating the lives and works of Black lesbian feminists Alexis DeVoe and Cheryl Clark. I had the pleasure of moderating the discussion with those two amazing women, as well as Alexis Pauline Gumbs and the curator of the exhibition and the panel, Brianna Simone Jones. What's really awesome is that Schaumburg is one of those places that if you're Black, no matter where you are in the diaspora, no matter how you identify, there's some evidence of your culture there. And I was building when I was there, I worked there from 1998 to 2017. I built the In the Life archive with Miranda and a number of other people. And this archive basically covered and was there to acknowledge the culture and history of Black LGBTQ people. And there was so little work on trans people while I was there, but fortunately that's changed. And so when I think about your story and what you're telling us and what I've learned about you already, I'm really happy to be talking to you today. And the reason why I approach you is because we're doing this podcast to help build those culture, to help build these kinds of conversations. And when you're in the foster system, can you talk about your origin story that relates to family here today?
Origin story when it relates to family. Well, most like folks in foster care, we don't know much about that. But what I do know is that, my mother, what it was like growing up as a lesbian. We probably don't know, but the reasons, right? Like growing up back in the day, I think she was born in the 60s or something.
Okay.
And she was also a lesbian, and through like life, she had a mental break. And she had that mental break when she found out that she was pregnant, and then she was like full blown schizophrenic, right?
Okay.
And so then we were moved to foster care. And lovely family, lovely. I guess what confused me as a child was the back and forth, right? Not only why was I in foster care, and why did my mom, only she only remembered having one child, right?
Oh, okay.
And so growing up with that, mom's is only calling for my sister, and that. So I learned a lot about family through tough love, right? Like I learned a lot about that, but grateful for it. Just the back and forth, the Midwest to Mississippi, the feelings of certain things, not being able to find that language, you know, all of that. Yeah.
So you touched on a couple things that I want to follow up with. First, you talk about your sister. Can you talk a little bit more about, because at first it sounded like that it was just you, and now we know that you have a sister. And then you also said your foster family, and that was a nice family. So it sounds like that's not a family that you now think of as your family.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So that those family ties weren't built with that foster home.
Right. No. So me and my twin sister are very close, and or like a good way, like when you can't sleep, she's up. So me and my twin, we're super, super close. She's the left hand, I'm that right hand. What impacted her specifically and me through being raised in foster care, I developed a stutter. It's not genetic, it's through trauma, right? And she had some delays learning stuff as well. So that was kind of hard to navigate. And then on top of that, right, coming out as gay, right? I mean, you kind of knew I was, like, it's really hard to tell. So I decided to come out, completely come out, like go outside with a girl, when I turned 18 years old. And I remember graduating from high school, and I thought that I was grown, so I was going to give me a girlfriend. And I got me a girlfriend, and I was put out foster care that same day. And yeah. So it was that was the end of it, but I learned a lot, and I'm grateful for it. Not more so family now. I have learned by traveling, right, to New York and DC, that there's a thing called chosen family, right?
Oh,
And
absolutely. Yes.
right. I've found so much peace, and so just like a safety net, right, with the community. And also, like, the LGBT community, you're making friends with artists and poets and doctors and all kinds of stuff. So it was super cool to learn that. But I despise it because I just started, right?
Okay.
And yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun though. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now you still, I'm guessing because you said the closeness between you and your twin, your sister, are you guys still close?
Very close. Very, very, very close. As life goes on, life be lifing, and so, and she's a mom. And she's a mom, too. Like, my niece, I think, is about 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we're super tight, super, super tight. Could be better though. We're so tight to the point where, like, how siblings just get it, right? I transitioned, and it took my foster mom. It's still, she still can't say Amir. She still can't say Jamal Amir Smith.
Okay.
She only is Nicole, right? And my twin, as soon as I said it, my name is Amir, off the back. And that same day, right? So super, super close. Love her down.
It's great that you have that relationship with her. And it sounds like you still have a relationship with your foster family, but it's not ideal.
It's developing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, I would hope so. Sometimes in the community, um, things don't get mended, right? And and
Yeah.
and that's because you know the good Bible and just how people feel about transness. And she called me and said, for Thanksgiving, she was like, I know I haven't spoken to you in almost a year, but if I want to go to heaven, I need to love you. And I was like, you know what? We don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. You don't accept me because I'm gay, because I'm trans. There's no need to, to pretend. And also, I would
Yeah.
like to mend it, one, because I have an uncle. She had a son who was gay as well, and he died of AIDS in the '85, right? And so I want to know. Come on now, like, what was the tea? Like what was things like?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
was going on? So yeah.
Well, you're basically touching on the things that I wanted to share or to ask you to sort of elaborate on. So maybe I can say it like this because I was thinking of how family has impacted your life as a trans man. And you've already kind of, like I said, touched on that. So maybe another question I have for you relates to the chosen family, the people you're pulling around you more. You say you're just getting started with that. You live in Chicago. What type of community have you sort of helped to build there for yourself in terms of
Okay.
chosen family?
Okay, so I've spent a lot of time at Pride Fest, of course. I love to volunteer in my spare time within within the community. They have a thing called Center on Halstead. Ooh, they have a lot. You got the Esther Gates, who has Stony Arts, and so it's super cool. There's something to do every single day, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
staying in those libraries, going to therapy, creating art, and dating too. Love a good date. So that's how I'm feeling.
What type of art do you create?
Ooh, so much poetry, oil painting, sculpting. I have some art downtown at Boston City Hall, Chicago,
Oh,
of
nice.
course, and with Wisconsin. So I do a lot. I call myself this creative change agent, right? Like, I'm just an agent of creative change. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's awesome.
Beautiful.
So you mentioned in the beginning that you still had a connection with your biological mom.
Mm, I saw her for the first time since I was 16, um, last year. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And the connection is there because we look just alike, and
Okay.
I just
Okay.
wish that, I just wish that she knew that she had two children, right?
Mm.
Like, she has to
Okay.
be reminded, right?
Right.
And so it's there, so it's there. Sometimes, it's, I want it so bad that I would love to take her in.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm not equipped. I don't have the tools, the coping skills for, to do such a thing. But it will be close because she's young. She's 55, so we got some time.
Yeah. Right.
Love
Have you been able to meet any of her people?
Yeah, yeah. She
it.
has a sister. Her mom just died as well.
Mhm.
Brother, and all of that. So yeah, I talk to my uncles and aunts very seldom though. I kind of like kept them on the Facebook thing. Like,
Okay.
I've been trying to just keep them over there. They're
Yeah.
very curious though. So
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
To follow up with something Miranda said, so have you done genealogy then? With
ooh,
yeah, yeah.
no.
Okay.
No.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
I received that. I received it. I received it.
Okay.
As you get to know us, you'll know that we are steeped in genealogy
Yeah.
and the beauty of that and how people find themselves through their bloodlines and through
Mhm.
traveling, migration, and all of that. So I'm
Yeah.
happy that you received that. And so
Yeah.
you have folks that you can talk to, should you
Okay.
embark on that journey. Yeah.
That's dope. I like that.
Mhm.
Um, and similar to that, we've been talking about, like your mom's side. What about your father, your birth father?
Oh, that's so funny you asked, because me and my twin, we were arguing about what was his name, and I was like, "This is sad. Like, we don't even know his name." Like, but you have to laugh about it, right? This is like whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was, I have no idea who that
Okay.
man is.
You don't know. And where were you born?
Oh, we were born in Mississippi, I do believe. I haven't seen the
Oh,
birth certificate because, whatever. But yeah, I've never seen it. I've heard about it, but yeah.
where in Mississippi were you born?
Ooh, I do believe it was Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And have you been back since? Is
I,
that
tr-
some place that you try to go?
Yeah, I would like to. I asked on of mine to go, but because of you know, uh, I got a third opinion from my foster mom. I
Okay.
got to speak and say, hey, yo, mom, I'm going back to find out my roots. Is there anything that I should know? And she said, the only thing that you should know is I don't think you should go. So that was,
Oh,
yeah. She was like, we're
wow.
gonna cover some things, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't. She's like, right now, no, not right now. So I
Mm-hmm.
was,
Was she worried about like family secrets that you might find out that might
yeah,
be
yeah,
harmful?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, yeah, yeah. The whole family tea. But I specifically want to go because I want to know who else is gay. Like who else?
Mm-hmm.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Like you want to
Yeah.
know. Hey.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's so I don't know. I'm very curious to the point where I'm just gonna go. Like I want to, but that is the
Mm-hmm.
goal. I need to find out. My mom was gay, right?
Right.
Um, all of my little cousins now. I, so where did it start?
Word.
Right.
Word. I'm curious about the differences in Chicago and say Boston. You went to school in Boston.
Yeah,
And
UMass.
so, and how do you, the differences in the cultures there, the queer
Mm.
cultures for you?
Ooh. Much to my chagrin, Boston is actually my paradise because it's rigorous. It's
Okay.
racist, of course, anywhere in America, KK is racist, but
Yeah.
I'm saying like, Boston it's so easy for me to escape in my work,
Okay.
right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and Chicago, the trauma is there. Like as you go outside and it's there, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's so hard to be productive. I found it so hard to just breathe,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
I
And so I
feel
went
that.
to Boston on a fellowship and I overstayed. I think I stayed in Boston for a good 10 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's certain things just, it just it defied my character, right? Too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not very many Black folks. However, the LGBTQ scene does exist, and chosen family. To your point, chosen
Mm-hmm.
family. There's it. If I ever find myself in a bind in Boston, I'm community,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all trans people, which is dope too. So
Nice.
Boston was a blessing. It came out
Mm.
of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was a blessing for sure.
That's beautiful. Whoa, that's beautiful. I'm so happy you have that. I'm
Yeah.
so happy you have that. Yeah.
Yeah, especially, as you've been talking about like some of the losses of like family, mother,
Mm-hmm.
and then, your foster family after coming out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
so to have that, to have those opportunities to see that connection and family and, community can be formed in a lot of different ways is really
Mm-hmm.
powerful because I think that people who maybe haven't gotten to their Boston yet might be
Mm,
struggling with that.
Right. That's a good point.
mm,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
mm. That's a beautiful point. Yeah, yeah. And one of the reasons why I actually like went, right, like through all of that stuff, and you spoke of loss, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
and I talk about this through therapy, I don't know what that feels like
Mm. Can you say
to
more about that?
lose, lose someone, right?
Okay.
Um, because you just get I don't know, you get numb to it. Like you can't
Mm-hmm.
identify what that feels like when it actually
Mm-hmm.
happens,
Mm-hmm.
right? When someone says, "Oh, we're done," or someone passes away, right? Emotionally, the way I'm wired, I'm okay. I hear you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just, so to lose, like, I did feel like I lost, my spine when, Grams, put me out, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I
Mm-hmm.
was gay, right? I feel like that was the last loss that I felt.
Right.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
going to Boston and all of that good stuff, that helped me to kind of just heal that, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has a purpose. You just got to go and get it, right? And that's what I had
Right.
to keep in mind, right? You have a
Lovely.
purpose still, even
Mm-hmm.
though it's got a purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, because you had the unique opportunity of going through this with a twin, right, with your sister,
mm,
um, and it's interesting, like how and I'm not a twin, so I couldn't say like what that connection and that bond is like. Only I could guess at it, but we're still all individuals, and
Mm-hmm.
we receive the world in our own way. Do
Mm-hmm.
you, in the conversations you have with your sister, and you can say whatever you want to say here, do you feel like you both, like sort of have come out of this in the same way? Or do you think because your experience is being first a lesbian and now a trans man
Mm-hmm.
has also given, like I don't know, your journeys, even though together, like your perspective on connection and family, do you feel like they're different, or you still are both kind of the same because you've gone through so many similar experiences together?
oh, completely different. Completely
Mm-hmm.
different. I didn't even. I don't know. I don't. I don't go backwards unless
Mm,
for research purposes. My sister, she's searching every single day.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Every
got
single
wow.
it.
day, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
over here like, give me I just, if I need to write a poem, I'll make a call, if I need something that's really in me, but, and also, we're completely different because I am Black and trans. Honestly, I think that me making that decision really
Mm-hmm.
showed me that, life is really what you make it, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
not as nostalgic as she is when it comes to family and stuff. That's one of the
Right.
Mm-hmm.
reasons why she became a mom, right? Because of
Mm-hmm.
her dynamic with family.
Okay.
Me, I'm like, I'm good. I got the homies over here. We going to a ball, but just to kind of see that, it
Mhm.
definitely has more of an impact on her when it comes to her purpose and how she maneuvers throughout the week, right? Like some stuff that bothers her about, like she sees my mom more, right? Like I've
Okay.
seen her, whatever, but she sees her more. And I guess
Okay.
she saw her one time and she was talking to her herself. And
Mhm.
so Christina then, she gets sad. So she's
Okay.
just not
Right.
really like, I don't know, like, girl, like, let's write about it. Let's talk about it. Let's create some art. Let's go to
Mhm.
therapy or something. She's like, no, I need answers now.
Ah,
Mm,
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting that they're different journeys, but they're kind of doing some similar things where you're like, if we're going to do this, let's make art. Let's
Right.
go to
Yeah.
therapy. Let's find some way to manage this in a different way rather than just simply the answer, right? So that's what I heard you say a moment ago, and I find
Yeah.
that's that's lovely. I like hearing that. I like hearing
yeah.
that. I hope that's you both find some way to kind of in and out, sort of helix around each
Yeah,
other.
I hope
You
so.
know,
I
yeah,
hope so.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're 30 now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean,
30.
it is interesting. It really seems like you are definitely grounded in the present.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and your sister might be grounded a little bit more in the past,
Yeah.
Or more
Right.
and finds
nostalgic. Yeah.
healing through those answers. I know that that's somewhat similar to me, probably why I'm an archivist. I love
Mm-hmm.
thinking about those things out there that I don't quite know yet, but
Mhm.
every time I get a piece of new information about who I am or where I've come from,
Mm-hmm.
it's healing in a way. It really is. And
Yeah.
so and it's just a difference. That's all.
Yeah.
That
Mm-hmm.
your healing comes from making things and
Yeah.
being
Mm-hmm.
Chosen family.
present and finding, like going out, like you said, going to a ball and being in that space, right? And so it's very interesting how So when you told me you were a twin, I was like, yeah, I'd love to know if their journeys are, if they think the same. But no, you don't.
Yeah,
You're
completely
very
different.
different.
Yeah,
And what
completely different.
and what Miranda said about, find the answers. I'm more like you, Amir, in the sense that I'm always creating stuff about my family, chapbooks. I'm doing genealogy. I'm interested in, okay, let's put this together for my dad who passed away in 2022. I'm like, let's put the right. Just like maybe a week ago, I was like, okay, where did dad work? Dad was a chef who worked at different places. I'm from Toledo, Ohio, so I'm 4 hours away from you
Okay.
because we used to come to Chicago all the time. I have
That's
a
right.
I have an uncle who lives in Chicago,
Okay.
Reverend Fullwood, yes. And I think the way that my family heals is getting more information about our ancestry, because people want to know, but then they don't want to do it necessarily or feel like that they're capable of doing it. So they appreciate the efforts that I write little bios about our deceased relatives, send them out, and I say something to the effect, this is not a complete story. Your version of them needs to be added, and so that's never just a closed set. It's not a period. It's an ellipsis. We can all continue build over the years, but sometimes losing someone can be really hard, and then it could be for some of my family members, they just want to let it go. But I'm steeped in it. That's where I get my value. Part of my value is with my ancestry. That Black love is Black wealth. As our beloved Nikki Giovanni said, our, dearly departed Nikki Giovanni said, Black love is Black wealth. And I'm like, I get it, chosen and biological family. So.
Amir, one thing you did say was that that something that is interesting to you to sort of search and think about. I think you said family members that, and I'm thinking you're meaning like family members who have passed away too, who have been who were queer.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Very curious about that. Yeah. Because their stuff is still there, like even like growing up in foster care, and I would go upstairs and I would see like record players of like, and singers. And I remember vividly knowing that I identify as a Black trans man, but somebody that's different. Or even in the community, I discovered my uncle who passed away, who was gay, died of AIDS. I discovered Tongues Untied by Roland Riggs.
Yeah.
And I never was the same. I was in the third grade.
Oh my God!
You discovered it in third grade?
I know,
my goodness!
I know that's bad, right?
That's bad.
Amazing.
It's beautiful.
It's just what it is.
You're
able to
Yeah, I
have some
discovered it in the
reflection.
third grade for sure. And then I told like my cousins, I'm like, there's this movie. It's so good. I don't get it though, but it's very gay. And they were like, "Are you gay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And it was like, "We already knew that." And so it was cool. Yeah. So Ronald Riggs, but so also like I just wanted to like know like all of these people in these books, right? And you kind of tell like cousin Milton, uncle, like he was kind of with the girls. So I was like, okay, who is that? I want to know that because I would like wear his stuff too, like his clothes, and just kind of like
Nice.
just try to like get to know what it felt like, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's a journey of a genealogical journey, but it's also like the sexual identity, So it's an interesting weaving of those ideas. Yeah, that's beautiful to me, though.
Yeah, I love that. I've never thought. I do a lot of family searching, and I have never thought to. That question has never popped in my mind. Like, who in my family? Never, right? I've been queer my whole life, and I have never thought, I wonder who else, was queer before me.
Yeah, I would have known.
So now I have to go and ask that question of my ancestors. So that's my next.
Okay.
You have given me marching orders because I need to start asking that question.
Okay.
I love that. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, because it's too natural, right? Like I'm too good at being gay. Who was here first? Like what is
There needed to be somebody before me around.
Right,
me.
They passed it down. Right. It's part of our genes.
So I guess one of the very last questions we have for you, because I did a little research on you beforehand, and so this is your work with the AmeriCorps in 2017, and you said in an interview that you wanted to service young people in the community through the education field by creating unique programs and raising awareness on opportunities. And I wanted to know, one, how the AmeriCorps experience was for you overall, and did it impact you and your family in any way? Do you feel like the experiences you had gave you something that you could use, tools or what have you, as a Black trans man?
Ooh, yeah. It definitely did. Working with the AmeriCorps program, specifically in Boston and Roxbury, I had the opportunity of having a principal and a vice principal who identified as Black, queer women.
Nice.
So having that around me, like every time I go to work, I definitely transitioned, sir. I'm just like, I'm done with home. And, I was ready. It just like, it felt good, right? And then how did it impact my family? Foster family wise, I had cousins who taught, right? Everyone's a teacher, and that kind of put me back into their great space too, right? Like they were able to kind of like accept that I'm trans, but he's teaching, so he can come over, right? So yeah, it was a good thing. I can say it was a good thing going to Boston. Great decision.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
That's lovely.
Yeah,
well, Amir, it was wonderful to have you on the show with us today.
Nice.
It has been a pleasure, a real pleasure. And we'll definitely have all of Amir's contact information so you can find him on IG in the show notes. So definitely check those out. If you are listening to this as a podcast, just to let all of our listeners know, we have recently set up a YouTube channel called the Nomadic Archivist Project. So you can also view this in living color on our channel on YouTube. So please check us out. Again, Amir, so thankful
Thank
for
you so much
for
for
your
coming.
time.
We appreciate really honored. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about your journey as the years go on. So just thank you for coming to share your some of your life with us and our listeners.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.